Good morning. This is Pastor Jeff. This is our daily lectionary readings for Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. With it being Tuesday, we're still reflecting back at what happened on church on Sunday. Our psalm reading, once again, is Psalm 27, 7 through 14. It's the same psalm Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Our Old Testament reading, we're staying in the book of Judges, jumping to chapter 7, verse 12 through 22. And then our New Testament reading comes from the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verses 12 through 18. And we'll once again be reading out of the Message. Psalm 27. Listen, God, I'm calling you at the top of my lungs. Be good to me. Answer me. When my heart whispered, seek God, my whole being replied, I'm seeking him. Don't hide from me now. You've always been right there for me. Don't turn your back on me now. Don't throw me out. Don't abandon me. You've always kept the door open. My father and mother walked out and left me, but God took me in. Point me down your highway, God. Direct me along a well-lighted street. Show my enemies whose sides you are on. Don't throw me to the dogs, those liars who are out to get me, filling the air with their threats. I'm sure now I'll see God's goodness in the exuberant earth. Stay with God. Take heart and don't quit. I'll say it again. Stay with God. Our Old Testament reading is from the book of Judges, chapter 7, verses 12 through 22. That night, God told Gideon, get up and go down to the camp I've given to you. If you have any doubts about going down, go down with Purah, your armor bearer. When you hear what they're saying, you'll be bold and confident. He and his armor bearer, Purah, went down near the place where the sentries were posted. Midian and Amalek, all of the easterns, were spread out on the plain like a swarm of locusts, and their camels, past counting, like grains of the sand on the seashore. Gideon arrived just in time to hear a man tell his friend a dream. He said, I had a dream. A loaf of barley bread tumbled into the Midian camp. It came up to the tent and hit it so hard it collapsed. The tent fell. His friend said, this has to be the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God turned Midian and the whole camp over to him. When Gideon heard the telling of the dream and its interpretation, he dropped to his knees before God in prayer. Then he went back to the Israelite camp and said, get up and get going. God has just given us the Midianite army. He divided the 300 men into 3 companies. He gave each man a trumpet and an empty jar, with a torch in the jar. He said, watch me and do what I do. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly what I do. When I and those with me blow the trumpets, you also, all around the camp, blow your trumpets and shout, for God and for Gideon. Gideon and his 100 men got to the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, just after the sentries had been posted. They blew the trumpets and at the same time smashing the jars that they carried. All 3 companies blew the trumpets and broke the jars. They held the torches in their left hand and the trumpets in the right hand, ready to blow, and shouted, a sword for God and for Gideon. They were stationed all around the camp, each man at his post. The whole Midian camp jumped to its feet. They yelled and fled. When the 300 blew the trumpets, God aimed each Midianite sword against his companion all over camp. They ran for their lives to Bethshittah, towards Zerah, to the border of Abel Malala near Tabith. Our New Testament reading today comes from the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verses 12 through 18. What I'm getting at, friends, is that you should simply keep on doing what you've done from the beginning. When I was living among you, you lived in responsive obedience. Now that I'm separated from you, keep it up. Better yet, redouble your efforts. Be energetic in your life of salvation, reverent and sensitive before God. That energy is God's energy, an energy deep within you. God himself willing and working at what will give him the most pleasure. Do everything readily and cheerfully. No bickering, no second guessing allowed. Go out into the world uncorrupted, a breath of fresh air in this squalid and polluted society. Provide people with a glimpse of good living and of the living God. Carry the light giving message into the night, so I'll have good cause to be proud of you on the day that Christ returns. You'll be living proof that I didn't go to all this work for nothing. Even if I am executed here and now, I'll rejoice in being an element in the offering of your faith that you make on Christ's altar, a part of your rejoicing. But turn out's fair play. You must join me in my rejoicing. Whatever you do, don't feel sorry for me. And here ends our readings for the day. Peace and have a beautiful day.